Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Hey, everybody. We were just talking about how my editor's Welsh, and my friend and guest, Alexandra. Honestly, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Guelph?
Yes, you do. You say it right every time. Guelph. Like
Guelph.
elf with a G in front.
Oh, Guelph. It's funny because it's Guel, so Guelph.
Guelfa. You can say Signorina Guelfa.
My friend Alex is here, and Alex, you recently got a PC.
In fact, I built my PC, and I'm
Built your PC.
extremely proud of myself.
As you should be. I know. I just did that this year too. Isn't it amazing?
It is amazing, especially when you have no business doing that sort of thing like me. And I never had a PC before, let alone build one. So thank God for YouTube, really.
There's something about like a person with soft hands building something that just feels you know? I have soft baby soft hands for never working a hard day.
I am with you, except that I essentially have a PhD in building IKEA furniture. That is like one of my greatest hobbies. I've for a long time looked into doing that as a job because it's my favorite thing.
That's fair. My wife has to build things for me because I get so... Well, I have huge hands. Don't be weird. Not you, them. I have huge hands and I cannot hold baby tools. And
Yes.
I get filled with rage. Like I tilt, as they say in gaming culture. I tilt very easily. And so the other day I couldn't screw in I don't know, I forget what it was. And my wife just was like, "Here, let me have this." And she goes, "See, I did it." This motherfucker.
I'm very into detail, but my hands shake a little bit. No good.
Nervousness, of course.
I don't know if it's nervousness or just I don't know, missing a bit of my DNA or something.
A part of your genome.
Something they forgot to plug in something, but someone was building me.
Fair.
They had shaky hands, and it's just perpetual.
Oh yes. I mean, obviously, you've been in many games as of late. Of course, you were in Genshin Impact. You were in Wuthering Waves. You've been in other things. A lot of other things.
Duet Night Abyss recently. Resident Evil just now.
Yes, you
playing
were the
zombies.
girl that Leon kills right away.
The first one. A bunch of other things, but I can't talk about. Obviously, boring classic voice actor line.
Of course, but you know nothing about video games.
I take great offense at you saying that, but I really know nothing. I know like 2 or 3 games that I've played very intensively for many, many hours, but I have never heard of some of the most famous games out there. I did not grow up playing games. Yeah, I'm clueless about most of it, but
Yeah.
I know Civilization and I know Stardew Valley, and that might be the sum total.
Okay, well, I mean, that's pretty modern, but we'll still call you a non-gamer because I still feel that intrinsically you are a non-gamer. And I think I think we'll have fun today because this will be an interesting conversation because you're also a very intellectual person. Of course, you have degrees from Oxford and
Cambridge, darling.
yeah, Cambridge. Excuse me.
How dare you?
Ignorant bastard. Cambridge. You have extensive training in theater and Shakespearean work and all that other stuff. So I thought this would be fun because, I don't know how much music has played a part of that journey for you. Has it played a big part? Has music in general been a part of your life? I mean, as an actor, do you use music to get into the flow of things, or do you just kind of what does that look? Why are you giving me a look like that? What is that?
Oh, that's just me listening. I'm sorry. I have a very judgmental listening face, and it's actually a real problem as an actor. People are always like, "I don't think your character hates the person in this scene." I'm like, "I'm so sorry. That is just my thoughtful face." No, it absolutely does. But for me, I think part of the reason why I'm excited to learn more about video game music is, for me, it's always been film soundtracks. Less so things with lyrics. I don't tend to make sort of pop playlists, but I was given a John Williams compilation CD when I was about 8, and that has been my most listened to thing ever since. And when I was at university, I studied English, and I love literature, but I also have quite a short attention span, and I'm not great at reading for long periods of time. I would put soundtracks on from relevant-ish movies while reading to just kind of help me stay in the zone. And then as an actor, very much so. It's super helpful. Especially actually for game work, when I'm going to and from the studio, even though you can't listen while you're recording, to just get in the right mindset to kind of know where to pitch yourself energetically and how to let silences fill. For screen work, there's so much in when you feel like you're just floating doing nothing, but the music is going to be doing so much. So giving yourself that kind of environmental vibe beforehand helps you trust in doing less as an actor when you actually film, I think.
Yeah, it's hard, especially the spaces when you're like, I had a fantastic casting director talk to me about like the idea of like blocking scenes, like when you're saying something to somebody, or you're not never just saying it, you're looking around the room, you're picking up an item, looking at it, maybe fiddling with it as you're trying to process like some sort of a complex thought or something. And that was a big part of the operatic work as well, was blocking and staging and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's cool. Well, so let's not waste any more time. We'll just dive in. Obviously, I mean, this is like you're an open canvas, which is kind of difficult because there's a lot of music, which is great. But it's also problematic when, there are a lot of options. So I've brought 50. We'll see how far we get. This may be the longest non-gamer episode in history that I've ever filmed. But, you and I both have time. So let's see how far we get.
What are you trying to say?
What are you trying to say?
Trying to call me fun employed?
There's a little bit of crackle in her mic. It's fine. She's only a professional.
Sorry, guys. I only do this for a living.
I want to start with something weird. And a lot of these games I wanted to point towards Steam, because you've become acquainted with Steam, and I tried to influence you on essentially a weekly basis to try a new game, and then you're like, we didn't play the last game I bought.
Yeah, Marco messages me with no preamble. It just says, buy this. And there's a link.
But we didn't play the last one. It doesn't matter. That's ADHD. I love being in this position because I love influencing people, and I love being influenced. I got Instagram influenced the other day. I actually bought a fantastic razor. It's actually amazing, but I was like, this is going to be the worst. Why am I being targeted? And I think it was right when I shaved my head. And, but anyway, it actually worked out. Look at that. I mean,
you look sharp.
I know.
Very nice.
So anyway, this is not what we're here for. So this is for a game called Lisa. This one's Lisa the Joyful. I actually don't know what it's about, but I know that it's like sort of, I definitely think it's intellectual, but it's kind of twisted. It's one of these like sort of like kind of flipping the mechanics of like the game sort of. I honestly, I don't know, but it's weird. It's weird. And I've been really excited to show you this. This is called 666 Kill Chop Deluxe.
Sounds peaceful.
Yeah, I know. So funny. It is so odd.
I love it.
I know, but like, we'll get into it. Yeah, it's like.
Look at her.
Has a bit of stank to it for sure. Just picturing this like big guy being like, I feel like that's like what my sleep paralysis demon sounds like.
I feel like I'm specifically in Stonehenge, like a rave in Stonehenge. There's just something about it that I mean, air horns are always like deeply unserious, but
Yeah.
it started out kind of druidy,
I know.
but like remixed, and then suddenly I was like, okay, we're at party. But yeah, Stonehenge vibes is what it gave me. I don't know what the world of the game is.
I know it's super messed up. And one of the interesting things to me is when I listen to that piece, it feels like it contorts and it feels like it twists a bit. And there's this kind of like there's this like real sound of like pressing in and kind of fucked up, but then it's also like, ah, come on, man, it's odd. And I feel like it's one of those songs where, you know how you'll read a thing and it'll be one way, but then you see it and then it's actually flipped, and so it kind of defies the expectation we have. It's not like exactly what we see on the page. I find that to be really interesting, and yeah, it's a little twisted.
It's fun though. I don't know. I feel like that beat coming in every now and then just reminds you, like, hey, keep going.
I would listen to that at a rave, at a club.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
Do I like what?
That song?
The club?
Yeah.
I actually did like it quite a lot. I think it needed the beat for me, that kind of like easier to sit into, because I can get really stressed out by any kind of fighty music, but as soon as there's a beat to sit into, I'm like, oh no, okay, we're safe, we're dancing here.
Sometimes there are pieces of music that have really pronounced rhythm. How much do you know about music?
I mean, I think probably, as far as you're concerned, zilch.
All right, well then I'll explain. All right, so obviously you know that the building blocks of music are melody, rhythm, and tempo. Like those are like the three. You mix those like a potion. You put those in a bubbling cauldron, and out comes a melody. And how you choose, out comes music, and how you choose to. I said cauldron, and the witches were like, "How you choose? How
do not invoke us.
Do not invoke the cauldron." How you choose to create that sound is up to the individual composer, right? But like the building blocks of it are rhythm. And what's interesting to me about pieces like this is where sometimes we can have the rhythm overtake the melody and have it be like the focal point. And I think in this case, the rhythm to me was more prominent than the melody. You know what I mean? The beat and stuff. So your instinct is right. And it's fair that like sometimes we need a rhythm. We need to grab onto something, whether it's a rhythm or a melody, and obviously the tempo, but that's almost a separate conversation. So let's keep it going. This is kind of different. I haven't had a non-instrumentalist on since I think the first.
You normally have very informed people who have
I do, yeah,
intelligent things to say, and I'm just there being like, there was drums. I heard a drum.
I lowered the bar for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is the second time I've had a person that like, obviously you're a very educated person and you have feelings and thoughts, and I think one of the interesting. Why are you laughing?
Thanks, man.
But to be fair, I do think that like there's something to. I mean, do you ever sit down and like think about the music you're listening to? That's good.
No. So I will say I used to do ballet, and so I think any time, and I still dance a little bit. I think dancers have an interesting relationship with music because it's not to sound hopefully overly pretentious, but it is kind of your partner. It is the thing with which you are interacting, and so that's probably why I hear something like that and hook on to the rhythm, because I'm like, okay, that's my in as someone who used to dance. Like that's the kind of. So I think probably the only times when I've really thought about music structurally is when it's because of dance. Yeah. But, and then, listening to John Williams a lot, I listen to it so much that I would be like, what is this instrument? Okay. And then I look it up and I'm like, okay, I like oboe. I have discovered I like an oboe because of, but I have no kind of, no training to know what it is that I'm listening to. Otherwise, like, why it's doing the thing it's doing to me.
Whereas in opera, it's the opposite. Like, that's why I glom onto melody. Like rhythm is important, but melody to me is like the most important function because I was singing melodies, and melodies needed. I've sung plenty of rhythmic and jagged music, but that stuff ends up being really painful, and it actually ends up hurting the voice. I'll never forget, I was doing a modern opera. I would go up to sing high notes, and it literally felt like shards of glass on my vocal folds because of the like it's very. And then I remember that the following week we sang Giacomo Puccini's La Boheme, and then all of a sudden it's all like a legato line. It's a melodic focus, and because of the Italian language and really any romantic language sort of guiding that automatically becomes easier because there's a fluidity and a legato through it. All that to say, like, it's interesting how you're right in that dance, that rhythm and that intensity of movement, that's all very rhythmic and has, emphatic points and stuff. Whereas for me, the more legato, the better, the more melody, legato is.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that to me was really, it's very interesting.
As somebody watching ballet, I can understand what you mean completely, because the melody for you is basically the like outlet for your expression more so than the rhythm. And
Right.
In dance there was always the kind of technical component, and then there would be this kind of ineffable dance quality, the kind of the artistic X factor on top. And melody, like the most beautiful ballets to me are always the ones that have that absolutely gorgeous melody on top of it. The ones you notice as a kid are the ones that are kind of like rhythmic and like bombastic. But yeah, the melodic stuff is where the artistic quality comes out. And yeah, I can see why that would be. I was just thinking about the language as well. Does that mean, are there German operas and are they more stressful to sing because of how?
It depends.
Because of the diction.
The diction is definitely tougher in Germanic languages for sure. American, there's a real need to. American requires a certain kind of an over enunciation. German less so, but German still. There's a lot more. I mean, there are tricks for each thing, like the difference between and the guttural kind of stuff, and then also the way that, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it is still vowel vowel vowel. So whether there's an umlaut, whether it's or e or o or oo or like these subtle differences, it's still ultimately about legato. And the way that we always thought about singing was essentially with the breath control and the breath support, that's the fountain of water. And the consonants, and I remember this from a master class I took, the consonants are like the sprinkler.
Oh.
So it's like you just briefly, like, k, k, g, and the differences and also in placement, and the fact that like a dental will be more in line with the vocal. So like a t or a the any of these kinds of sentences, this is the technicality, right? But then if you have a g or a d, or those tend to have their own sort of like vocal placement. And so you have to keep it all in line. It's very interesting stuff, but all that to say, yeah, it's
God, I'm sorry, I will get back to it, but that's fascinating to me because as a theatre performer, it's almost the other way around in that the muscularity of the consonants is everything.
Oh, really?
And so often the amateur move is that you go out and you're trying to push the vowel sound too much, and it's what makes people feel like they're shouting, but they're actually inaudible. And if you end up biting through all of your consonants very crisply and clearly, you're almost like chewing on them, then suddenly you can be heard from the back of a gigantic auditorium. Wow. And also your emotion tends to carry more. And I asked about the German, by the way, not to insult any Germans, it's just because it's so much more consonant dense than Romance languages, apart from French, which I believe you think doesn't exist, but apart from the fictional French, who have a lot of silent consonants, silent sounds. But yeah, you're Italian and it's obviously like mostly vowel sounds.
But also the placement of the languages is different. Like English is actually much more low in the mouth, as you know. Like it actually is very not dissimilar to some of the Russian sort of. There's a Russian. It's an E. The diction of it dictation is an E with a little dash under it. And when we learned IPA, which is the International Phonetic Alphabet, so that would look like that, and it's literally like a T T. And a lot of my natural placement now in English is way further back. Però se comincio a parlare italiano, si può notare subito che è tutto molto più qui. Immediately, the minute I switch into it. And then obviously the French is all in the mouth. You know, when I went to
It's all in the mask. You're like, oh.
Yeah, it's all in the mask. So it's interesting how the placements also change the way of the you know, sort of the way that we embody the anyway, enough of this.
One last thing, I'll say that I'm voicing a character at the moment who speaks some Spanish, but she flips in between English and Spanish, and it needs to sound completely fluent, but they don't want a Spanish accented English. They want American accented English. And that flip, part of the thing that is a challenge is that for me, when I speak Spanish, it's sort of way down in my chest, and the American resonates much more up here. And so trying to make the two of those connect in a way that sounds fluent and normal is quite an interesting technical exercise.
It's like,
Yeah.
So speaking of language, I've got 2 tracks here for you. One is in a made-up language, and another one is in Japanese. Cool. I believe this is one of the... It's called Whereabouts of the Stars, and it's from a game called Trails in the Sky, otherwise translated as Sora no Kiseki, FC. Trails in the Sky is an interesting game series because we rarely get this. You know how there's like Final Fantasy 1 through 16?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't even... Do you know what Final Fantasy is?
Yes, mostly because of the hair. It's cool hair. It's cool hair. As someone who doesn't know about the world of Final Fantasy, when you see those images, and also who's not an anime fan, the thing that always stood out to me was this like spectacular, spiky, phenomenal hair. But I am aware. I knew that there were at least 14 of them. There's 16.
16.
There's 16. There you go.
16. But anyway, so Trails in the Sky, those are technically, not all of them, but most of them are called JRPGs, and JRPG stands for Japanese role-playing game. In the earlier 90s and before, they are turn-based. You know what turn-based means? Mm-hmm. So you take turns.
Civilization is a turn-based strategy game, so...
yes, that's right. You like Civilization, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. So
the combat is turn-based, thank God.
Yeah. And so this is the same way. And then, of course, they've advanced over the years. They had an active time battle, which, like, you waited your turn, and then so it wasn't quite so turn-based. Anyway, Sora no Kiseki, or Trails in the Sky, is interesting because it's the one... I think it might be... I'm trying to think of what other series is like this, but it is from start to finish. I forget how many games there are. Let's say there's 12. I think there's more than that. They all require the previous. It's a saga, overarching saga. So Trails in the Sky FC is number 1. And this one, they just remade it, remastered it, called the first, and so they're reworking because these games are older at this point, and they were turn-based, and now they're action RPGs, so it's slightly different. So now it's a little
okay.
This is Whereabouts of the Stars. Really beautiful story, and just honestly like a lovely game. I just sang you the lyrics. If you want to follow.
Oh yeah. That's just lovely.
It is just lovely, isn't it?
That's such a nice song.
Do you think that it was good because you saw the lyrics, or do you think it was good just like? Do you think the lyrics made more of an impression on you, having like being able to follow along? I don't know if you were, but
I was, but then actually because I didn't start reading the lyrics until the song had already started, I don't really. I feel like I wasn't reading structurally, like as it was going along with the thing. The lyrics are gorgeous, but it's the melody for me that, no, more than anything. It's a very, I was thinking like, I wish there was a better singer. I would love to sing stuff like this, you know? It would be, you could almost, like, it would be a fun one almost to sing in a choir. Like, it's just a cute, like, it's a very satisfying melody. Yeah, I don't know. There's like an innocence or a simplicity. I really don't have the language for it, but there's just like a sort of a purity to that kind of beautiful melody. And I'm also a real sucker for that, the kind of lyrical piano that it opens with. I listen to a lot of that kind of music just to like calm down, just like sort of modern, not classical, but not super contemporary, just like modern lyrical piano. And then the classical guitar that comes in like 3/4 of the way through is so gorgeous. So yeah, it's probably those things more than the lyrics for me.
Did you find it to be sad, or do you think that innocence was the thing that kind of carried it through?
I did not find it sad. Maybe I should have paid more attention to the lyrics. No, I found it very
matter.
happy.
I mean, it doesn't matter. And I think that's an interesting point too, because I don't think it matters. Like all that matters is how you connect to it. So to me, I mean, if not knowing what goodbye is, I was dreaming all by myself all that time in your eyes, what was being reflected. Da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da. So even in that like little melody there, because that's the kind of the crux of the chorus. Be it loneliness or pain, I want to feel you no matter what. If we can look at each other in the eyes once more, our wish will surely come true. That to me actually has a ton of melancholy to me.
Yeah. I didn't clock at all how melancholy the lyrics were, because the music was so happy, even though I was reading it as I'm listening.
And that's okay, right? Because I think ultimately, like, what matters is how you connect to it. But one of the things that I found really interesting about this, and I've listened to this before, but is she basically goes da dee da da da, right? So da dee da da da, and then she repeats that last note da. So that's the starting point, even though it ends the first like sort of phrase da dee da 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 da. That actually is a reflection on the da dee da 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 dee da da da. So in my
that's so cool.
When I listen to that da dee da 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 ba dee da 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 da, that actually sounds sad to me, because it's almost like, why would I go up? There's no when I go up in the pitch like that da dee da 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 dee da 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 da. It's like it's much more of a reflective. Like mirroring what happened in the relationship with this particular character and why I'm sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter though, right? Like, because what you felt is valid, because there's a ton of innocence in this character. I think this is sung in the perspective of Estelle, who is like one of the main characters of this particular corner of Trails in the Sky, and she's reflecting on some things that have happened in the story. And again, what's crazy is that Trails in the Sky FC is literally 30 hours of exposition. Which sounds horrible, but it's actually kind of, it like sets the stage for everything, right? Like you need all of the like, oh, her dad is this guy, and like Josh was her brother, and like they go on an adventure to become bracers, and then like they want to do good for their community and for the different city states around the area that they grew up in, and then all of a sudden they're embroiled in this really complex thing. But it's not until the second game, Trails in the Sky SC, second coming, I guess, I don't know what it's called, where we start to put the pieces of the puzzle together of what happened in the first game. But both of them are 30 hours. So did you like this, though?
I really liked it. I really liked it. And I wonder also if the fact that I wasn't picking up on the nuances of the sadness is because I'm not familiar with the genre at all. So the whole thing from the outside, the whole thing just sounds quite like upbeat and energized. I've noticed that since working in anime games, that obviously it's a genre unto itself, and so there's like modes of expression that have become very nuanced within the genre. But if you come from outside and you're not familiar with it, you can make the mistake of thinking, like overgeneralizing your impression of things before you understand, like, oh no, okay, now I can hear all of this. Because when you sang that melody, it did sound melancholic to me, but I'm listening to her kind of like bright tone of voice, and I'm like, oh, okay, like it's a happy song.
It's a really interesting thing because I think like anybody can grasp and connect to music in a deeper way. Like that's music is something that is so, it like crosses so many barriers to me. I think it, you know, whether or not it's a universal language, we all, I don't know, because different cultures have different styles of music. So it's not necessarily, I mean, I do think like you can pick up on subtlety of emotion regardless of whether it's Eastern, Western type sounds. But I think that music has this way of, a lot of us have these shields and barriers, and music allows us to kind of pierce through that. And it's a very visceral, in some ways, a deeply antiquated, in a good way, sense of a way of expression that I think over time in a society we sort of forget. Kind of like I remember I took a dance class and the teacher was like, dancing is a radical act, because when do you ever see anybody dancing unless it's in a specific setting? Because if they're dancing in the street, you think they're fucking crazy, right? So it's a radical act, though.
Yeah.
No person is dancing in the street. Just like
even in a dance class, there's always the moments that a shy person freaks out when they go, okay, now you've got 8 counts, just like improvise for this bit. And suddenly people who've been confident up until that point become paralyzed because they're like, but I don't know what I'm allowed to do. Because that like freedom of movement is suddenly it feels so taboo, apart from when you're a kid. So you've got to kind of reclaim remember being a kid and just like whirling. I would have been listening to this song and just like spinning around and jumping around my living room, you know, just vibing with it, because that's natural.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And so this is an example of a piece that is lyrical and in Japanese, and so we have lyrics, we understand what it means. But like, what happens when we have a piece of music that has lyrics we don't know? What happens when we take something like Nier Automata, which is also a game on Steam, and one of the best games ever made, by the way. And I think as an intellectual, you would very much like it. It would take you a minute, I think, to figure out like.
I love this as an intellectual.
What?
I don't know. I'm going to go around saying that about myself.
As an intellectual, I went to Cambridge.
An intellectual.
I think like it's a very sophisticated game, but it's interesting because it's sophisticated and emotionally complex and really, really beautiful, but also under the veneer of like android women. You know what I mean? And why is there an android woman? Well, because Yoko Taro likes women. And that's why, that's why they wear these outfits. And like the androids, it's a whole like discussion about like, what is life? What is reality? What is the world?
Cool.
And all the androids wear black, and they have these eye masks that cover their faces, and not all of them, but like most of them. And like the 2 main characters, the interplay is fantastic. So this is actually a pretty, I don't think it's like one of the most popular ones, but I like it, so I'm going to play it. This is called Amusement Park. This plays as you arrive at a derelict amusement park. And in this game, society has been taken over by robots. Androids are basically trying to reclaim it from the robots. There's more nuance to it. Oops, sorry. There's more nuance than that. And it's also one of those games you have to replay multiple times in order to get expansion on the story.
Oh, cool.
Which I don't think you've ever experienced anything like that, right?
No, I've been playing Disco Elysium with Amanda Rochelle. Yes, right. That's probably the first game I've experienced where Amanda keeps pointing out how she's played the game numerous times, and how replays you can take completely different paths with it, which is not what I would expect from a story-based game at all. So that's cool.
Yeah. So this is slightly different, whereas like you have a full story, then you restart and go and play from a different perspective. You
Oh, that's
restart and go
so
play a full
cool.
different perspective. And then in the end, once you've done like the sort of like parameters that, you know, you need to do in order to like beat the game officially, there's a big moment. I don't want to spoil it for you because you're sort of pure in this, but it's a popular, people on the internet know about it. And it's like, it's just an amazing thing to be able to, you know, what does it mean to sacrifice yourself for the greater good, essentially? It's a really powerful and beautiful thing. So this is Amusement Park. The lyrics are in a language called the Chaos language, which was written by the singer Emmy Evans.
Can I
And
ask, did they make the language, is it nonsense sounds, or did they make it sort of at least partly functional throughout the game?
no, what's interesting about this particular Chaos language is that it's actually it's actually borrowed from other languages and it's kind of all smushed
Mm,
together. But it's not
cool.
like Esperanto or something. It's like, you know, do you know what
Hmm.
Esperanto is?
I do. I
Yeah.
was going to laugh because Esperanto always catches strays. People hate
I
Esperanto.
know they tried so hard. Unify
They really
Europe.
did. We're
Unify
going to
the
unify
Romance
people, and people are
languages.
like, it doesn't suck like Esperanto. I'm already scared.
Yeah, it has a little bit of like the like where the hell are we?
Yeah.
But it changes. But you trying to make sense of the words?
Hmm.
Sometimes it'll trick you and make you think it's actually something you can understand.
I'm actually fascinated from it from a linguistic perspective.
Yeah. It sounds like she says from white sheer Galoth, but I don't like what the hell is a Galoth?
That Gwe sounds so Welsh. That's why I laughed in the first place. I was like, this, I feel like there's a lot of Welsh in here. I love that so much.
Yeah.
This makes me want to play this game.
Oh my God, please. Honestly, this soundtrack is a 10 out of 10 for me. Like, there's not a single track. This is one of those, like, you can listen to the entire soundtrack and not skip a track. It's so good.
That was so cool. And I'm like a languages nerd, right? That is my absolute favorite thing. So a made up language is something that I love. And it's so interesting to see kind of which phonemes they borrow from which languages. That like k sound and all of the oi and the ch that were in there that we associate with kind of like a darker magic, probably because of Lord of the Rings. They were like, there was some kind of, so therefore something untoward is happening. Yeah, it was beautiful to hear sung and made me kind of want to sing it. I thought because of the very first like 5 seconds that we were going more into like creepy playground, but it was way more than that. Also, that image that I'm looking at as a thumbnail is beautiful, and I'm like, whew.
That's Nier, dude. You know what's interesting about Nier is that the combat, it's also very experimental. I remember when the game came out, I was like, what the fuck is this? And the thing is, like, there are parts that are very 2D old school, like think like shoot 'em ups, where you're getting like shot at and it's all left to right and you have to like jump over things, very like
like a platformy
like
thing?
a platformer, like think like a Mario. It's obviously more complicated than that. And then it'll switch perspectives.
Can't be more complicated than Mario. Mario was too complicated for me.
Oh God. Okay. And then
I uniquely suck at platformers. That's why I try 5 seconds and I'm like, nope, I'm out.
No, it's okay. I have a disdain for Donkey Kong, so I understand. But then it'll flip the camera. The camera will switch and it'll end up being the person over the shoulder. And you have to like dodge getting shot at. And again, it's like all these robots and like in Amusement Park, without spoiling it too hard, it sounds like that because you wander upon a broken down amusement park that is overrun by robots. It's not actually creepy per se. It does have like that like Hall of Mirrors vibe, but the whole thing is just kind of like, what the hell are they all doing here? This is strange. And I'm telling you, every single track, there are some tracks. There was a track I played on my PlayStation 4 that at the time before Sony became just totally money hungry. It's a separate conversation. The PS5 is very corporate as a game system. Like, it's fine, but it's kind of lacks a little bit of the weirdness that video games are so good at. It's very AAA, but the AAA meaning like the most amount of money possible. The PS4 used to be able to like pick your own displays, and so the displays would come with soundtracks that you could play while like idling the screen on or whatever.
Oh, cool.
It's super cool. I'm so angry that they just decided to not include. Anyway, so they a separate conversation for my other channel, Angry Gamer, Bald Man. I rarely get mad about very many things in the games industry, but like the fact that Sony got rid of like your own like wallpaper with music really pisses me off. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But anyway, I swear for 2 years I thought I was just mishearing lyrics. Nope. I was like, it's in English. Nope. It's in a made up language. There is another song that is so French, but absolutely not French.
Oh, I love that.
And you're like, Je t'enfant lisez. What the fuck does that mean? Nothing.
Oh, that's very cool. I'm looking at images as
Emmy.
well. I feel like I would really enjoy this aesthetic. It's
post-apocalyptic. It would be a bit of an ask, but you've played Genshin. You've dabbled, so I think you'd be okay actually.
Yeah, playing Genshin has taught me at least the basics of just JRPG basics. I am a character. I have a weapon. I'm running around doing these things. Like, this was my first introduction into that.
That's an action RPG, but neither here nor there.
Oh.
Excuse me. All right, let's keep going. We're getting sucked into all this cool stuff.
Castlevania. I've heard of that, I think. I don't know what it is though.
Classic. Symphony of the Night is a classic PlayStation game. Do you know what a Metroidvania is?
No.
Okay. Metroid is a game on the Nintendo, and I can't fully remember the details of what makes Metroid, but in the other part of that, in the suffix of that, I'll use a big word for you English. If the prefix is Metroid and the suffix is Vania, Castlevania, everything basically it's about exploring a map. As you continue to explore, you discover more of the map, and you have to backtrack and do certain things, and there's weapons lying around, and it's 2D left and right, and so like, you know, you basically are just uncovering the map as you play. And and this thing is Castlevania is a very, very, very like Baroque, you know, Dracula, you are a vampire hunter, vampire killer. There's more to it than that, of course. But there's one particular track that I mean, the whole soundtrack is banging in Symphony of the Night, which is like, there's a new Castlevania coming out actually pretty soon on Steam, which is again why I'm playing this. And this is called Woodcarving Partita. It features a harpsichord. And do you like harpsichord?
Not much.
Okay, not much meaning you don't like it or you don't know it?
I don't like it so much. It's yeah, but you know,
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
open.
well, different strokes for different folks. I like harpsichord because I'm so used to it from my music days. Lots of Baroque, lots of like oratorio, Handel, liturgical writing, Judas Maccabeus, you know, and like they'll put it's all harpsichord. But so I always get kind of excited when I hear it in a modern time within the last 30 years. So this
I
is
like how unusual it is. I think I think
yeah.
in terms of a personal sound, it's always the sustained sound of a piano that I like so much. So the fact that
Fair.
the harpsichord is so like staccato might be the thing that I don't love about the sound, but it's very cool. It's very vibey.
Yeah, it's very vibey. Well, let's listen to Woodcarving Partita and we'll assess how you feel afterwards.
What is it called? I need to ask you. When there's a part of the harpsichord generally is anxiety inducing for me, and a lot of that was anxiety inducing. But there's a thing that I really love when there's kind of everyone goes like and then it like holds. It's like there's a pause and then everyone moves. There was one, it was like 2:05 somewhere in there, and then they did it about 30 seconds later on, where having the harpsichord with the strings underneath doing that and stopping is so satisfying because it gives it this kind of like sharpness and button that other instruments don't have. And it did make me think of ballet because it made me think of that kind of like present that you do that's like that suspension of it that is very cool.
There's two things. I mean, one of the is obviously unison playing. So they come together and they're moving in unison, and then they stop abruptly and they end essentially at the coda, and then they recap, right? So that's one thing that you heard. The other thing they might have heard is also like a slight lift, which it's not quite a caesura, but a caesura in music is annotated as 2 railroad tracks. It's essentially like it's a pregnant pause, essentially. And then we kind of come back in. I'm not quite sure what that was in the context of this piece, because it may not have been that. I think it was a coda where it kind of ends on a button and then it repeats. I mean, obviously, in this case, it doesn't finish. But anyway, yeah. So that's a very cool thing. You know, what I like about this is the fact that here's a game that came out in 1997.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. Symphony of the Night, PlayStation 1. And what's interesting to me is that this sounds so appropriate for, you know, a piece of Baroque literature that have existed in the, you know, what was the Baroque time period? Hold on. Do you know?
17th century? 18th century.
17th century.
Damn it.
Derived from Barocco, or oddly shaped pearl.
Amazing. No. Why on earth what's an oddly shaped pearl got to do? Does that Baroque usually means it's highly ornamentalized, right?
Yeah, highly ornate and elaborate style of architecture, art, and design that flourished in Europe in the 17th and first half of 18th century. I didn't realize it originated in Italy, but that makes sense. Was this after Rococo? Hold on.
I feel like Rococo is after. I feel like Rococo is a layer of icing on top of Baroque.
The Baroque is a Western style of architecture, music, dance, painting, sculpture, poetry, and other arts that flourished in the early 17th century. It followed the Renaissance art and mannerism and preceded Rococo. So Rococo was the answer to Baroque.
Yeah, I feel like my association with Rococo is that it's even more fun and even more. It's kind of gilding the lily. It's a lot.
Yeah, you're right. Have you interacted with any like Baroque poetry or writing?
I'm trying to think if it even applies to literature. But I would say just living in the UK and traveling in Europe a lot, like, you see we have a lot of very old architecture, and you see, if you look at, like, I don't know, cathedrals from different periods, you can see the ones where that have the Baroque influence, because there's just so much going on, especially when the Catholics get involved. It's really like they really go in. They go all in.
Yeah, they do. But I think it's cool that, like, here's something from the 17th, 18th century, and yet in 1997, they were like, how do we emulate that vampiric,
Oh, absolutely. I was thinking, listening to it, even though it was stressing me out, the thing that was that stopped me from being stressed out is I was looking at the image on that thumbnail there with the guy with his like velvet high-necked collar, and as soon as you can see that kind of physicality, and it brings so much world building with it, that sound, because the harpsichord is not an instrument that we've used throughout the ages. It is quite specific to a time period, and so it almost puts you in Venice, or it puts you somewhere where you're like, oh, I can feel the velvet, and I can see the darkness, and I can see the candles. You can also see the kind of social politics of it. It's all very dangerous.
Yeah, there's a lot of poise, a lot of daggers in the eyes. Like, don't cross
panache.
me. But anyway, obviously I'm taking you through a pretty intensive crash course of video game sound and music, and I felt like Castlevania was an important one to feature, just because now it exists. Have you ever played Portal?
No, I mean, I feel like I've picked up someone's controller for a minute, and I was obsessed with. I think that GLaDOS, her voice is gorgeous, and I've watched a lot of other people's playthroughs just to hear all of her lines, because she's so beautifully written, and then the performance is so good. I've played a lot of AIs in various games, and so my constant joke is that I'm trying to take their jobs before they take mine. It's just a little quid pro quo. But her performance as GLaDOS, I'm saying her because I can't remember the actress's name, which is terrible, but she's magnificent. The humour and humanity that she puts in whilst being resolutely not human is really, really satisfying.
Yeah, Ellen McLean. Yeah,
Ellen McLean, what a legend. She does a magnificent job.
And I think, like, this was also such a golden age. When did this come out? If I recall correctly, Portal came out. When I say recall, I'm just gonna Google it.
I should like it because it's a spatial puzzle, and I'm usually quite fond of those. But I think at the time when I picked it up, it was beyond me.
Well, it's on Steam. Portal 1 and Portal 2. I do think you would thoroughly enjoy just the the brain tickling that occurs when trying to figure out where to put the portals, and how one is an entry point and one is the exit point. The physics in that are phenomenal. And did you know that GLaDOS actually sings?
No.
Well,
She's gonna sing?
Yeah, this is still alive from Portal, the first Portal. She does two. The second one is actually a whole Italian art song called Cara Mia Addio, which when I first heard it, I was laughing because I was like, I can't believe that they put an Italian people got offended by that, but like because they were like, how could you laugh at something so meaningful? And I'm like, well, I'm not laughing because it's stupid. I'm laughing because it's like blowing my mind that this is like video game. People didn't get it. It's fine. Some people did. Anyway, so this is still alive from the.
I love. Oh my god! Because I love how they've auto-tuned or modulated her voice so that it has melody even when she's speaking. So okay, I can't wait. This is great.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm excited to play this for you. If there's sound.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here. Huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction. Aperture science.
Which is the name of the company.
Because we can. For the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. But there's no sense crying over every mistake. You just keep on trying till you run out of cake. And the science gets done, and you make a neat gun for the people who are still alive.
It's so tongue-in-cheek. It's so cute.
I'm not even angry. I'm being so sincere right now. Even though you broke my heart and killed me and torn into pieces,
The harmony makes it laugh.
Yeah.
into a fire.
She threw every piece into a fire.
Because I was so happy for you. Now these points of data make a beautiful line, and we're out of data. We're releasing on time. So I'm glad I got burned. Think of all the things we learned for the people who are still alive.
Oh my god! I love the veiled threat in everything. It's so great.
I think I prefer to stay inside. Maybe you'll find someone else to help you. Maybe Black Mesa. That was a joke. Haha, that chance.
Black Mesa is from a Half-Life. The other mountain.
Okay.
Look at me still talking when there's science to do. When I look up there, it makes me glad I'm not you. I've experiments to run. There is research to be done on the people who are still alive.
There's experiments to be done on the people who are still alive. And believe me, I'm still alive.
I'm still alive.
I'm doing science and I'm still alive.
I'm still alive. While you're dying, I'll be still alive. And when you're
While you're dying, I'll still be alive.
alive. Still alive.
The formatting of all the lyrics, like final thought, final thought. Oh my god, that was brilliant.
Isn't it
I'm
charming?
kind of glad I didn't know about that before. Oh, she's so well written. I love it.
This game is really affordable, and I think even before Nier, if you were to play one game from this list, I would say Portal and Portal
Yeah,
2. So
that's
it's
a
interesting 'cause
no-brainer.
Portal 1 is interesting because Portal 1 is like proof of concept. It's kind of short. It's really fun. It's really well made. Portal 2, you've got Wheatley. Like it's just like this is like a classic must play game, especially for you who's like, you're in the weeds doing it. Like I feel like Portal 1 and Portal 2 are like must experiences, and they're nice because there's not really like killing or shooting. I mean, they're shooting with some things, but like it's mostly like intuitive based. There are multiple ways to get something done. There's not always like one answer for everything. So it's just the scope is so much bigger in Portal 2 as well. I'm glad you like that. I mean,
I liked it a lot.
What about it appeals to you just because of her like character and her singing and
I mean, the way that they did the voice so that it's a very small sound
yeah.
because her speaking voice, if I remember it, actually does have quite a lot of bass in it. Not bassy bass, you know what I mean? But like alto, it has that sort of, it has that resonance that's,
Yeah.
but the thinness of that was what made me laugh, but also feel afraid. Because it's like, I'm being nice now. And it feels like, oh God, oh
I'll
no,
fucking kill you.
what's coming?
Yeah.
But then also just the melody of it's really like really satisfying and pleasant in your, yeah.
It's very '07. It's very like 2000s, you know?
Uh-huh.
It has that like sort of like the internet's fairly new and no one knows what the hell they're doing. A little bit innocent, maybe a little bit melody wise. Like it's just very charming. Half-Life 2, those would be a little bit more complicated. They're in first person, so they're a little bit more, you know, involved. There's obviously a lot of shooting in Half-Life. Half-Life is like one of the games that
I'm gonna Google it, so that I can see.
Hey, well, no, I'll just show you a trailer. Hold on. We'll make content out of it.
Wow, his armor says business, but his glasses say science.
This was 1998.
Oh wow.
You know, it's funny. They led with all the action, but it's actually like it's also very much a the story's very good. Like Gordon Freeman's just like an ordinary guy. He shows up to work. The first like 5 to 10 minutes, you're in a tram going to work, and then like an experiment goes wrong, and all, you know, the classic like sci-fi sort of.
Oh, beasts are released.
Yeah, kind of like people get transformed and so on and so forth. Like it's not. That's actually not a great trailer to represent it, but it's one of these seminal games that like on every top 100 games ever made list, Half-Life and Portal are up there.
It's kind of hard when you're not used to it, even to visually make sense of the graphics from back then. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's amazing that I know if I'd looked at that at the time, it would have looked so realistic to me now. But I look at it now and I'm just, all I see is polygons.
It's like gotten a lot better, obviously, and there's been improvements, of course, that have made it, you know, more functional and easier to understand. But yeah, it's 1,000,000%. Have you played Civ 7?
Now we're going to need I need to shave my head and have my Angry Rant channel, because I have started playing Civ 7.
That's right. You don't
and
like
it fills me with rage. But can I actually tell you, relevant to this discussion, is why part of the reason why it's filled me with rage is the music. I've been so disappointed. Yeah, because I can't speak to the body of music that moves through the game, because obviously that changes depending on the civilization that you are, or the multiple civilizations that you're playing at, which is a metric that I don't enjoy. But the menu music and the Civ series has always been so phenomenal at doing like their main menu, their like main theme song, and the menu music for Civ 7 is not it for me. I think Civ 4.
I thought you were a non-gamer. You're over here like, I know all about Civ.
I only know about Civ. It's the one game. It's the only game. It's because my partner introduced me to it, and I've been playing it for the last 14 years. But that's it. It's literally it. But Civ 4 has that very famous. It's Baba Yetu, I think it's called.
Baba Yetu, yeah.
Super
Sonia
famous.
Volata is Civ 5, yeah.
And Civ 5 is my favorite. Civ 5 sometimes still pops into my head just randomly when I'm in the shower, and I'm like, oh, the gates to heaven just opened. It's gorgeous.
Sonia di Volare. Civ 6 is Sonia di Volare. Una volta che vorrà. Okay, so you know that song.
Yeah.
And then you know ba yetu yetu mie inguri yetu. Yeah, okay. But
okay, change my mind about Civ 7.
I will right now.
Yes, I'm ready. I want to have a good opinion of it. I need to get off my funk.
This is the modern Civ theme for Great Britain. It's Jerusalem.
Okay. Well, you can't dispute Jerusalem.
I actually cried when I heard it for the first time recently, not too long ago.
You have to buy the deluxe version of the game to get the UK, and that's very insulting to a British person. We're like, excuse me, we're not DLC. Thank you very much. We're a base game. We are a base game.
We are a base game. Do you not know the damage we've caused.
Exactly.
But I do want to play this for you because I it'll probably feel more relevant to you than to me, but I think it's quite beautiful. What is the significance of Jerusalem for Great Britain?
Jerusalem is often described as the national anthem that we should have had. It's an extremely popular and beloved song because it's beautiful. I think I've read the lyrics a bunch. I don't know them super well, but the sentiment that it expresses is a kind of beautiful, noble sentiment that belongs in an anthem, and is a lot of people, including myself, prefer it to God Save the King or God Save the Queen. Green and pleasant land. That's the famous line from it, and that's what, for a lot of British people, Britain is supposed to be our green and pleasant land.
But it rains there all the time, so.
Yes, because that's why it's green. And if you have an umbrella, it's still possible for it to be pleasant. Sort of. Sort of.
Wait a minute.
Those sneaky bastards made that as beautiful as that so that I would buy the deluxe edition, didn't they? They did it specifically. They were like, we're going to make the main theme very blah. And then we're going to make this absolutely divine arrangement of Jerusalem something that you have to pay an extra 30 quid for. How dare they, frankly? That arrangement was so gorgeous and actually so specifically Civ, like, I'm glad I know the franchise because the way that they, again, I don't have the musical language to describe it, but the way that they moved on basically from the sort of first third to the second, it really made it feel like a piece of Civ music because of the other instrumentation that they brought in and the way it kind of builds and falls. And that was beautiful.
You get the sense that, especially in the first half, you can really tell that they took the instruments, and the instruments are the ones that are singing the lyrics. The very melodic, right? So then what it does is it actually grows and swells into that culmination where everything kind of gathers. I call this would probably be the closest thing to a sandwich song. And what I mean by that is, hear me out.
I love a sandwich. I love a song. Carry on.
Actually, no, it's not a sandwich because it's a different. A sandwich song would be like the beginning and the end are the same. So those are the two slices of bread, and the middle is the climax, and that's the meat. It's actually not like that. It's much more of a journey piece where we start, we build, we climax. It's actually like the truest exposition, climax, and resolution. So it's very literary in that way. It's interesting because we go on this big journey, and then at the end, it's that exhale. And it just sustained for a minute. It's just like we just conquered all of the the whole world.
Sorry.
What a relief. We created steam, the steam engines, industrial revolution, you know what I mean? Like there's
I wanted to ask, when was Jerusalem written, do you think? Because I do feel like there is, I think my association with it is the Industrial Revolution. And that's part of why it's a great choice for England as a civilization in the game, because I think the Industrial Revolution is what made, is basically what superpowered the empire.
interesting. Jerusalem takes its words from a poem by William Blake.
Oh, okay.
And is
I should know
often
that.
put forward as an alternate English national anthem. So funny enough, the tune to Jerusalem, written much later in 1917, so post-World War I, was composed by Perry, who also wrote the choral favorite, I was glad, glad when they said unto me, this one, we will go. You know that, of course, right?
I do not know that.
What? Perry, come on, bro.
I've never heard of Perry in my life.
What? You've never
You're saying
heard
Perry, not
I
Harry.
was Perry, Hubert Perry, Parry.
Hubert
Purcell
Perry?
composed one, so did Boise. Charles Hubert Hastings, this is from Classic FM. Charles Hubert's Hastings Perry setting, known by the incipit of the text, published as 1662 Book of Common Prayer, become the most celebrated. Perhaps this is the first anyway. Perry took a couple coronations to get it exactly right, though he originally wrote it to accompany the crowning of Edward VII, and then 9 years later offered it up again for the coronation of George V. This is your history I'm reading about.
I'm sorry, we have
You went to Cambridge.
We have so much history, my love. It simply goes back too far. No, but I definitely should know about Blake because, of the old English lit degree. But I was just doing, so I think, yeah, it was his lyrics from the Industrial Revolution and very critical of what it was doing to our green and pleasant land. The lyrics reference the dark satanic mills because England is a small country, and when we covered it in factories, we basically blocked out the skies with smoke. It is a gorgeous poem.
Read it to me in a British accent.
Oh, God. Okay. Shall I? And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? And was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here, among these dark satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold, bring me my arrows of desire, bring me my spear, O clouds, unfold, bring me my chariot of fire. I will not cease my mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land.
Oh, wow, that is beautiful. That really is like, let us build the Holy Land here instead of destroying it and turning it into. Wow, that's quite powerful. So that's amazing how the music actually elevates that, and it's almost like a bit more of a hopeful quality to it.
But it also has the arrogance of that is inherent in the English persona, which I think
a little bit of haughtiness, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, oh, absolutely. What business have we going, yoink, I'll have Jerusalem, thanks. You know, entirely different part of the world, but we'll just go, well, wouldn't that be lovely if we just put it on the top of this hill over here? Yes. And now we're the centre of the world. Perfect. It's just what we intended. So yes, it's both gorgeous and sort of symphonic and also ridiculously haughty.
Yeah, okay. I can get behind that. Yeah, it's very captivating, though. All right, cool, and thank you for that. I wanted to go back to something linguistic, which is a piece from Metaphor Re Fantasio. How do I explain this to you? Sega Atlas. Sega.
Yes, good. You've got to go to basics. Sega, heard of them.
Yeah, okay. So they have a series called Persona.
Okay.
Very anime, very JRPG, very turn-based. But in this game, it's kind of like you have different abilities, you have different characters, and like you become, you can, oh God, I don't fucking know. You imbue yourself with a persona, and like there's a really cool part where the main character, you know, every character that is in Persona has a persona awakened within them. I am thou and thou art I. Embrace your true self, become Persona. Anyway, in Persona 5, he like rips off his face is like bloody and like anyway, it's very great, and the whole story is. It depends. Hello, Nathan. Please edit that. I could not explain Persona. I think the thing is like.
But now that I know that Civilization 7 has great music, I'm gonna have to go back and give it a second chance.
You're gonna have to change your review to mixed.
Yeah, that's a Steam joke. Is that a Steam joke?
It is a Steam joke, yes.
Oh, look at me getting Steam jokes.
I know. So this is not on Steam, but it is on Epic Game Store. And this is Alan Wake 2. It's like a psychological horror game about a writer who, I don't actually know. He writes a book, things get weird. It's very much, as an actor, I definitely think that Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2 should be on your sort of radar.
I think I've heard of it, but I had always thought it was Alien Wake. Goes to show how closely I was reading.
Nope. So this is actually a song made by the in-game band, who is actually a real band, but the in-game band is the Old Gods of Asgard. And the song, it's actually a musical number. If I recall correctly, Alan is trying to snap out of this like dark zone that he's currently trapped in. I don't know why. I've never played it, so it's on my to-do list of games to play. But this is the Old Gods of Asgard, Herald of Darkness. And when I first heard it, people got very upset with me because I watched it at the Game Awards and I thought it was the campiest, weirdest, dumbest thing I'd ever seen. They were like dancing, and I was like, what the fuck is this horrible dance? Like it went right over my head, and they were like, wow, now who's pretentious? And I was like, whoa, pretentious for not liking something. But I'm actually, this was one of those like moments where I was like, you know what? Fuck all y'all. And I went and I listened to it 30 times and forced myself to like it. And now I really like it.
And now I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to listen to it.
And now we're going to listen to it one time and you're going to hate it. Okay. And then, no, you might actually love it. So we're going to actually watch the footage because it actually, in game, it made a lot more sense than at the Game Awards. And even at the Game Awards, now that I've sort of gotten used to the music and I actually think it's awesome, I used to work out to this piece. Like, it really grew on me.
Gods of Asgard is giving metal to me. Is that the world we're about to walk into?
It's like prog rock.
Okay. I actually don't know what prog rock is, but it...
Progressive, well, I don't either. So it's
progressive. It's left-wing rock.
It's liberal rock.
It's liberal rock.
It believes in healthcare for all.
A gentle mosh pit.
This is basically like, if I recall correctly, Alan is trying to essentially get out of this world that he's sort of trapped in, and this is one of the ways of doing it. I don't know. I'm not positive I haven't played. So we'll just watch. This is a 9-minuter, so we'll just watch some of it. This is from the game, like footage from the game.
Oh, cool.
Welcome. Our guest tonight is Alan Wake.
And they used in the game.
This time we wanted to do something
that was real, mixed
different.
in with in-game.
A deep dive into who he is as an artist and as a man.
I love that actor. I can't remember his name, but he's great.
Inspiration,
he's British.
What demons he wrestles with
and that Sam
in the
Lake,
dark
the
hours of the
creator
night.
of
Together with our house band, the divine Old Gods of Asgard, we have created something very special. The song is called Herald of Darkness, but I like to call this next segment the story of the journey of Alan Wake, the musical.
So it's all like kind of,
We just do what we always do. We'll
pastiche
chat,
almost.
but instead of talking, we'll sing it.
From what I've gathered, you grew up nice and sheltered with mama's pretty stories and your own made-up fury. And mama gave me a magic clicker. Well, yes, I think it's true and fair to say. Come on in and listen, lost words you've been missing. Now the fire you're bearing, the eye of the darkness, your light. So you were drawn to stories early on. My dreams would light up my imagination. And you had nightmares night and day. Yeah, but with the clicker, I chased those frights away. Ooh, you. So true. So here is a clue of hope to remember. Visions, they come true. Bend the light switch to. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness. Lost in the never-ending night.
The Zumba choreography is sending.
Deep to the surface.
Yeah. But that's pretty much how the song goes, and the whole thing is obviously a journey through Alan Wake's, like, basically the previous game and also the history and stuff. But it's very, yeah. Well, what's your first impression of that as you see?
That was delightful. It was kind of like, I enjoy campy, stupid rock. It made me think a bit of Jesus Christ Superstar. You know, I was like, this is the level of everyone's a dork here, but we're enjoying how, like, rock instrumentation is so much fun that I think if you're trying to be cool with it, sometimes you lose like how fun it is. I think that's part of why.
Like a douche, yeah.
Yeah, if that's part of why glam rock is fun, because it's so inherently silly that you're kind of like there's of an electric guitar. It's just like a fun sound. It's not that someone stood on a cat in a cool way. You know, it's like yeah, I enjoyed the silly choreography.
So you can imagine though, like I saw that live, having not really played the game or had it on my radar.
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, it looks so dumb. But then when you like fully like go in and allow yourself to just commit to the bit as a viewer too, that's when I think it's like, oh, I get it. This is crazy. It's awesome.
Well, there's something also. I think that the black actor is David Harewood, and David Harewood often plays very, very serious roles. So there's something about seeing him do this kind of that is funny from the off because of the casting, because it's like someone you don't expect to be doing anything like this. But I mean, yeah, I thought I was stealing myself for something very metally, and actually that was really fun.
Quite charming, right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad I took the time to let it like wash over me and get used to it. I find, do you feel like when you read a piece of literature or like read a script, or, you know, as you've worked in, you know, Shakespeare and all this other stuff, and can you remind me, so did you work at the Globe at one point?
I've never worked at the Globe, much to my chagrin. No, I mean, I've done Shakespeare, but I've never actually worked at the Globe, which a lot of actors don't want to work at the Globe because it's so touristy, but because my parents were both American and they both moved to London for the culture and the history. I had a very privileged upbringing of being taken to the theatre and taken to art galleries constantly, because that's what my parents came for. And so the reason why I turned out to be an artist is because, you know, what a gift for a kid to basically be shown all of this magnificent stuff. So I would love to work at the Globe because I went there as a child with two parents seeing it with stars in their eyes, thinking this is magnificent. So yeah, I kind of love it, but I've never actually worked there. I did while I was training. The where the Globe Theatre currently is not the original site of the Globe. It was kind of like 2 blocks along and a block back, and it's basically ruins what is there, and it's underground, the original site, but it's one of those. It might just be because it's damp and has dust in the air, but it has a magical atmosphere. Yeah, it's the mold. The spores really give it aura.
As they spread into your lungs, they give you the aura.
Yeah. But when I was at RADA training, we did sort of abridged Shakespeare performances in those ruins underground, which was incredible because it's like dark and you're basically on this little promontory and it's half flooded. So there's just kind of like water behind you and mouldering bricks. And I did Hermione from The Winter's Tale, which she's one of the most beautifully written characters. And so anyway, yeah, that's my little digression. So in a way, I've performed at the Globe because
That's cool.
In the ruins of
the Globe. I mean, well, so like the reason why I asked that question is because like I found that there were a lot of pieces of opera that I was resistant to over time. And as I listened to them and got used to them and hearing them and feeling them, that was when I started to like sort of kind of fall in love with them. And it's like everything kind of took a little bit of time. And I wondered if you had a similar experience with your theater background, if there were pieces of Shakespeare, of anything that you read and you're like, this is ass. And then as you keep reading it, you're like, oh, Hamlet really is a genius piece. Or, you know, like, oh, Macbeth really does have substance. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that I didn't have that only because I did my English degree before I worked or trained as an actor. And so, and specifically the degree that I did, it's very classically focused, it's very Shakespeare focused, and it's very like zoomed in on the text. And so I was a Shakespeare fan from kind of day dot. But I will say that there's a lot of Jacobean playwrights who, when you read them, you're like, this is hard work. Even as someone who loves Shakespeare, it makes you realize how good Shakespeare is because he puts lots of fun rhythm and rhymes in it and lots of jokes. And a lot of the Jacobean stuff is just like very murder heavy without any poetry. But when I performed Jacobean, that was the first time that I began to understand, oh, okay, we're not looking for a poetic rhythm here. We're looking for the rhythm of the drama comes from other things. It comes maybe a bit from historical context, a bit from knowing what would be scandalous, what would be shocking, what would be avant-garde, but also just the Jacobean playwrights were kind of like the death metal of theatre. It's so gnarly, and that's part of it. It's not cute. There are no twins. There's no mistaken identities. It's kind of like, you ate my children and now I will flay you alive. It's which only really comes down in performance.
Fair. But I see what you mean. So there was some, once you sort of give yourself over to it and it sort of imprints itself, that's when I find it interesting how music is the same way where, and I think in some ways maybe even more direct because of the sound and because of the melody, and it's either it's off-putting or it's not. And it's a sort of like I've tried listening to country a lot, and even in country I still can't. There's only like a couple bands or a couple singers that I've actually been able to like push past not only my implicit biases against that music, but also just like I just don't enjoy it. Part of it's come with, well, I just don't enjoy the style. Same thing with Persona 5, where it's very jazz heavy and very like jazz organ and sort of.
You were just, was that the melody from Aladdin? Totally, you were just singing Friend Like Me.
Oh no, that's no. But it's much slower. But it's not to say that I don't like music from that series. It's just that it's just a style of music that just doesn't appeal.
Are you a jazz fan?
I am a big band swing, you know, a nice piano jazz, yes. And I like a small jazz trio.
But hot noodly jazz, not so much?
No.
I don't like too noodly. I really like melodic jazz. My parents I was raised in such an old school household in terms of music. We basically only had classical music in the house, and then at a certain point they brought in jazz. I was like, I don't, it's like I was born in 1845. I'm just like, what is this new sound? Wow.
Hey, a flapper.
It's so scandalous and syncopated. But I kind of did have, I was like, oh, I love this. But the stuff that I was listening to was a lot of like, you know, Dave Brubeck, very melodic stuff, or like your Miles Davis, which is just like easy on the, for anyone to get into. Yeah, when I listen to stuff that's too complicated, I start to feel a bit alienated from it. But I do like a jazzy sound.
It also feels put on. Like that's something that kind of annoys me. Well, anyway, this is not neither here nor there. But what was the point of all this? Oh,
Persona?
Persona was originally what we were talking about before listening to that other song. So the Persona series basically is like every day a new event is happening, and you have limited things you can do within a given day until the next day comes, and you have a certain deadline before you have to do this thing. And I don't know, I can't do it. And there's like in Persona, there's a lot of high school elements, and so you're like building rapport, building relationships levels, so on and so forth. They're really interesting games, and they're really well made. It's just that it's a little bit too much work for me for a video game.
Okay.
Metaphor Re Fantasio takes the setup, but puts it in a medieval, somewhat obviously medieval with like, you know, steamships and, you know, very interesting, different sort of direction. And it's all about like, if I recall, the plot basically revolves around who will be crowned king at a certain point. And so it's a job of our heroes to I don't know, I can't explain it to you. Anyway, there's a Buddhist chant that is part of the battle theme. And it's in Esperanto. It's very cool.
A Buddhist chant. It's in Esperanto, actually?
Yes.
Phenomenal.
If he chooses to play. Crazy, I know. Isn't that crazy?
It sounds like he's speaking in tongues. I don't even know what it's like. He's doing that like permanent singing. How is he?
Honestly, I don't know. And I've heard a lot of patter singing in my life. You know, I'm the model of a modern general. I have information but like that it's a very patter singing is very common in Italian bel canto operas like Verdi, Donizetti, but less so Verdi. But
I didn't know there was an opera version of it. I only know like Gilbert and Sullivan version.
Think Figaro la, Figaro va, Figaro su, Figaro giù, Figaro giù, Figaro pronto bravissimo, bravo bravissimo, bravo Figaro. That's all patter. That's all patter singing. That's a very intense. I just love the language aspect of it. Does that appeal to you, or does it give you anxiety?
It does appeal to me, but I wish I should have been looking at the lyrics, because the way that he was vocalizing was so constant. that I couldn't hear word breaks. And in all Romance languages, I need word breaks to like hear the words because all the phonemes are the same. You know what I mean?
Isn't that crazy though? Like that's a
Yeah.
battle theme. You like that?
I enjoyed it. It felt very evocative of like a moment, you know, as soon as you've got that big choral thing, I can definitely see it as a battle theme. And also the in his vocalization was, it has a lot of like momentum to it. So it's kind of egging you on to like, okay, let's do this thing. It's not the first thing I think of when I think of Buddhists, but you know, that's a very
It has a lot of bite, and I find that that's really interesting too, is that it really, you're right, because it eggs you on, but it also has a lot of adrenaline behind it because it's essentially like just constantly pushing the bar forward. It's like, come on, push, push, push. That sort of, it's interesting because to then have it go, because of the sort of melody within that, it actually pulls back, which is interesting how there's actually, I would say there's a bit of a tug. It kind of shoots, I can't use that expression. It kind of blows. I can't use that expression. It kind of builds, very quickly releases, and then it kind of just, and that's it. And then it resets. But it's interesting because usually in a battle theme, we have a natural build up to a climax and then release. And this is on the flip side. So it climax release instantly and within 30 seconds. And then it kind of just like, you know, tapers down off the mountain. It's very interesting. You know what Sonic the Hedgehog is?
Yes, I've never played Sonic though.
Oh, it's such good music. It's such an enjoyable experience. It'll probably stress you out though.
Oh, I say never. I believe I have a memory of like playing as Tails because Tails was cute.
Probably Sonic 2 then.
I was probably babysitting at someone's house. I have no. I did not have the devices to play these things.
Yeah, Tails is super cute. I like Knuckles. Knuckles is the red echidna.
Knuckles is an echidna. No, you don't see many echidna.
You don't, and I'm glad that they're getting representation and have continued to get
What
representation.
are they? Australian? Some Australian was like, "There's not enough echidna in the world of games. Why is there a fictional blue hedgehog? For God's sake, somebody get a real animal in there. Is it red? Shut up."
I don't know if you know this about me, but I love Ace Combat.
I've seen you lose your mind about
That's what you have.
Ace Combat.
So Ace Combat's interesting because
This is a flying game, right?
It's a
This is
flying game.
Yes.
However, the story is like next level. Like it's like the most anime of anime stories. I know you don't love anime, but like it's like
I just don't know it. What do you mean when you say it's an anime story? What does that mean?
Space elevator to shoot rockets to shoot planes into Mars. You know.
Okay.
It's very large.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, like in Zero, which is this is a track from Ace Combat Zero. The final mission has you literally jousting with a guy that used to be your second mate, who used to fly alongside you, and then he decides that it would be better if there was no separation of different countries, and so he's decided that he's going to nuke the world in order to soft reset. I recall the plot, and so you literally like joust him while he has a laser strapped onto his back while a missile is going on. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like it's like very big, right? And
Gotcha.
like,
It is impossible to jump the shark in anime because there's a lot of shark jumping.
But you buy into it, which is strange. And so it's just extra. And everything just kind of feels like high stakes at all times. Not all anime is high stakes at all times, but anime really goes from 0 to 60 severely at times. And so I fell in love with it. I listened to the music for the first time about a month after I started my channel, and I was like, oh God, Ace Combat, this is going to be like super like metally, scratchy, like, you know, metallic sounding. And I thought it was going to be pretty lame. No, it was like flamenco.
Ooh.
With like acoustic guitar and castanets. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I listened to so Ace Combat Zero is a prequel to Ace Combat 5, but it came out after Ace Combat 5. So Ace Combat 5 takes place 15 years after Ace Combat 0. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it does. Star Wars rules. I'm with you. Yeah.
And so in this particular track, this is called The Round Table. And so in this game, it's really interesting because there's a lot of different sort of you're doing a lot of plain dueling and a lot of like fighting against opposing forces. So they'll show up and be like, you know, Golm Squadron, or it's like enemy of the week, but enemy of the like battle. So it's really fun because it's like you never know what you're gonna get, and there's always some sort of like there's a lot of Spanish flair because that's how the tension builds up. Anyway, I don't remember when the roundtable plays. It's customary that I play one Ace Combat track in every video where I introduce people to music because I'm upset. I mean, I love Ace Combat. It's probably my favorite series at this point, and I won't apologize for it. It's also deeply underrated.
And it's not, you're saying it's anime in its spirit, but the design, I just Google imaged it.
Yeah.
The design is not.
It would appear to be just a regular old plain game, which someone might be like, well, why would I ever want to play that? But then once you dive in and allow yourself to look past your sort of biases, what you end up with is a true like the tenacity of the human spirit. There's a deep anti-war message. It's about like possibility and hope for the future. And this is not on Steam, but I feel like this is an important piece to just throw your way. Just it's really banging. You would not think to sound this way. Again, just fighting airplanes. I know. I love that little tension there with the strings. Did that surprise you?
Yes, so much. Even though you said it, you mentioned the flamenco and the Spanish, I was like, that was so cool. I've been listening to a bunch of flamenco recently because of this character that I was recording, who speaks Spanish, because there's a lot of flamenco influences in her design. And so that's been something. And I did a little bit of flamenco when I was training. And the thing, I have a bit of a dance background, but the counting in flamenco is a glorious fucking nightmare. Like, it's just, it is there to humble you, because it's like you feel like you've got it and then you have lost it. And I was counting furiously throughout that whole piece, because it's like your body knows when it's coming, but then it just, it kind of throws you off. And I was trying to hear the time signature. That was so much fun.
Yeah, I love the dance that exists throughout this with the guitar, where there's a fluidity and a free form within the structure of the piece, the rhythm, that allows the guitar to then go and do whatever it wants to do, coupled with the fantastic natural crescendo, right? And so there's this sort of like defies sort of the like standard expectations of what you expect when you go from A to B, and it kind of just is this there, and it exists in like a gooey mood of agitation and tension, but the tension is like kind of loose, and there's almost a sensuality to the tension, which is so odd, because again, this is a plane game about like fighter planes, and the crazy part about it is that you're constantly close to death. Whether it's an airplane that shoots you down, you stall out, you crash into the ground. There's a thing that happens in every Ace Combat game called a tunnel run. And a tunnel run is literally, you go into this you would have a meltdown. You go into a tunnel and you have to just subvert and push past the tunnel. And everything is enclosed, and you have, there's no redos. You're just in this tunnel, and then you emerge out the other side. And I'll tell you, in Ace Combat 5, which is the game I played before I played 0, this is available on the PlayStation 2, which is, several 20 years old now, I think, at this point. There were no save points.
Oh my God.
So you have to do this whole thing before, and then they're like, okay, just open the tunnel. You have to clear. And it took me 2 hours. And no joke, the pit of my stomach was, my stomach was cold, and my hands were numb, like it was pre-show jitters. I've never experienced that in any other video game ever, where I was like, this is exactly what it feels like moments before you step out on stage.
Yeah.
In a video game about fighter planes.
That's so cool. I mean, I struggle with games, to be honest. That's part of the reason why I'm scared of playing spooky games, is because I you know this about me, I'm a very literal person, and it's part of, I think, why I'm a good actor, if I can say that, is because when I imagine something, it's very real to me. And so sometimes I struggle. Like I have overly literal responses to things that I'm watching, because I really feel like it's happening to me. So I would be an absolute mess. I'd be having a heart. My palms are sweating just hearing you talk about it.
It's a beautiful thing when you can immerse yourself in something, but obviously the lines of boundary are kind of important. But so we briefly played World of Warcraft for like 3 weeks-ish, which I'm still getting billed for, and I don't know why.
Okay, you gotta cancel your subscriptions. Come on, man.
I did, and then Blizzard was like, something must have happened. And I go, what do you mean something's happened? I'm literally, anyway. So
the thing that's happened is we're taking your money.
So in World of Warcraft, one of the most famous characters from that game is Arthas. Now,
Arthas?
Do you know anything about Arthas?
No.
We were busy like killing like little deer. So
you and Amanda were busy killing little deer. I was busy going,
where am I? Oh wow, there's a whole how do you work the camera? There's no
staring at the floor
option.
There's no left-handed option, for God's sake.
But Arthas is an amazing character. Arthas was a paladin who essentially witnessed horrific things in the name of doing right by his kingdom and his his father, the king, and so on and so forth. And over time, he became desperate to maintain control and protect his people. And in doing so, inadvertently was corrupted and betrayed the very people that he cared so deeply about. Classic tale. I read, hopefully that was right. I believe it was right. I read actually the novel of Arthas's journey. It was really beautiful. He witnessed the poisoning of bread, which turned and then he had to fight all of these civilians that he was vowing to protect. He ended up having to kill all of them and massacre them. he had to make a decision. He chose to massacre the people of this town because they'd been poisoned by an evil doer, so on and so forth. And then he ends up getting this sword, Frostmourne, and it calls to him, it beckons to him, and he, in the process, kills a companion that had been alongside his side the whole time. And then he eventually assumes the position of the Lich King and becomes, the ruler of the king of the undead, so to speak. And it's more complicated than that, but that's sort of the sparkness. There are 2 tracks, but I'm only going to play one of them for you. This is Arthas, My Son, and it is a haunting piece of music that sort of showcases, the loss of Arthas. Because then Arthas comes back, he actually kills his father. It's a whole thing. It's very Shakespearean, I think, and definitely one of the best villains that Blizzard has ever put out.
That was sick.
I should have asked you what you thought the thing was about. I told you the whole plot of I gushed about the plot of Arthas, but what were your sort of impressions listening to that and connecting to what I mentioned earlier?
Well, doing this with you has made me realize how little I focus on lyrics and how much I focus on rhythm for being a word person, because I was just thinking it was similar. Even the last piece had these triplets that I was enjoying so much, and this was doing the same thing. It was kept doing like 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3, and yep. I really enjoyed using that as the like punch to it. It's so cool, and the vocal was so beautiful. And I have no idea what the words were about, except that I felt like I was partly in Lord of the Rings and having a wonderful time.
It's interesting because the first half, basically long live the king and so on and so forth. Obviously the lyrics are more complicated than that, but what I find interesting is that I think the young boy in the beginning represents Arthas as like in the innocence and the purity. And once the piece moves into rum, taka-taka-dum. So actually this accompanies a cinematic.
Let's watch it. I liked how they made, I don't know if it was like violins or something, but you know when they can kind of make them scream almost at the beginning.
Yeah, at the end it feels like it's feels like bats, doesn't it? All right, we'll watch the cinematic because why not?
Cool.
I haven't featured World of Warcraft in a minute, and this is such a gorgeous trailer.
What is the language that they're using? Is this a made up language as part of the game? This was always my bias when studying literature as well, was that I become so interested in the like zoomed in detail. So I could tell you all about the word choice, but I could not tell you the plot. So when you're like, what's it about? I'm like, oh, I haven't a clue. But I did enjoy that they used little bits of Latin, but not too much. And that there were other like Proto-Germanic pronouns in there. And yeah.
I think, so this apparently is the common tongue of the Alliance.
Okay.
So there's Arthas sitting on top of the
My
throne.
son,
Oh, what a
the
voice.
day you were born,
Yeah.
the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas.
Oh, just for the sake of... There's also a theme that plays before, which is called Invincible. And Invincible was Arthas's steed that was loyal. When he wipes the frozen lake here, it's actually a dragon in the water that he eventually revives. But Invincible was his, or maybe it is Invincible, it doesn't matter. The first thing he does when he is able to like not die is he goes to find Invincible and revive him, because the bond there was so incredibly deep between him and his horse. It's all like very classic tropes, but it just works when it's like, this is really World of Warcraft, like fighting, like flying on all cylinders. Okay.
This kid's vocal is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
That note, man.
My child, I watched with pride as you grew into a weapon of righteousness.
So it's the juxtaposition between he was supposed to be a paladin, and then to be the king of the Lich, the Lich King.
Remember, our line has always ruled with wisdom and strength. And I know you will show restraint when exercising your great power.
It's so Apocalypse now. He's so standing so still. You would fall in the lake, sir.
Yeah.
Oh wow. It's like if Godzilla were a dragon.
But the truest victory, my son, is stirring the hearts of your people. I tell you this, for when my days have come to an end, you shall be king.
Isn't that insane?
Cool.
Do you find that it has more power when you see the visuals and the sort of juxtaposition between the king clearly speaking about him? You know, it's the counterpoint of what he should have been versus what he becomes. Is one more impactful than the other?
I mean, I need plot fed to me with a large spoon. So I think in terms of taking that takeaway, yeah. But the music on its own is incredibly evocative. I just obviously don't come away with the specifics of the story, but you get the purity and the innocence of the vocal, and then the unmistakable battle sounds. And we have such an association, I think, of like any kind of Latinate chorus singing. You're like, oh, okay, there's some storied history.
Yeah.
This isn't like this isn't a barbarian battle. This is a civilization or a monarchical battle. There's a lot of inferences. I mean, like a lot of suggestions from just listening to the music. But I do enjoy watching the visuals as well.
The package.
Yeah.
I respect that. Yeah, I respect that. I've sort of softened on that. I mean, I feel like sometimes music gets this it's like window dressing, and it really bothers me because I don't want music to be wallpaper. I want
for sure.
it to be the room. So I used to be really like, no, you don't need that. But I feel kind of changed my tune on it.
Yeah, it helps people notice things in the music, I think. You know, when he puts his staff in the ice and then it starts to crack, and that's the first time you hear the dun, 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 dun. Like that, you're seeing like the fractals split. It's like split, crack, crack, crack.
Dun, 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 dun.
It helps emphasize that pattern, that structure changing, and then you realize because you're seeing something break and something starting to emerge, and then when the music swells, it's like, you know, I think it, for visual learners, it helps us to understand what's going on.
It's true. I find that I have less to say about music after I've seen it in its like appropriate setting. Like if I just listen to it, I can imagine much more than if. Yeah, it's interesting. All right, I'll let you pick.
Oh, okay.
Right. Monster Hunter, fun. Proof of a Hero, Will Reign Together from the Risk of Rain 2, Mass Effect 3, Leaving Earth, Partners, The Game is Afoot, Domineer.
My first choice is Mass Effect Leaving Earth, because I like the idea of a ship taking off.
Yes, and so our friend Amanda loves Mass Effect.
Yes.
This is a game series that you would also enjoy because I don't think you need to be very good at it. It's deeply narrative. Lots of choice.
No, we like that.
Yeah, there is fighting, there is shooting, there is using weapons and stuff, obviously, but it's very much a sci-fi space drama. It is a deeply moving series. Your choices matter in a big and deep and profound way.
That's very cool.
So this is Leaving Earth, a stunning piece that I'm excited to share. And literally, they're escaping Earth as this music plays. Super cool.
I already want to play this.
You should.
Yeah.
You should.
I liked how spare that was. I like that it didn't go into a whole big soaring melody. You know, it kind of surprises you with the great big like engine sounds, but that doesn't come in and take over the whole piece. It lets you think about like the retreating blue dot.
There you go. Exactly. That's literally what's happening. There's a retreat of Earth. You know, what do you do when all these different alien ships invade? You don't go out necessarily with a big bang.
Is that the premise? It's not because we fucked it up. It's not one of those why we're leaving Earth.
Yeah, no, we didn't fuck it up. In this case, there's an alien invasion.
I see.
And actually, I don't want to spoil it too much because I actually think you would love this game, but the noise you hear there, that brass, is actually the blast of the enemy alien ships destroying parts of the Earth.
Yeah, it actually looks like England is the thing that's just been blown up, because I can see Italy there. It was like it's just sort of to the northwest of Italy.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, it looks like it's that whole sector above the equator. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is right here is the best place to go.
They heard that blood sausage was on the menu, so they...
Oh yes, we're sorry about the blood sausage.
I can't wait. Are you kidding? I can't wait to try blood sausage.
You don't need to do that. It's all right.
I need to have a British breakfast.
Yeah, but most Brits leave the blood sausage off their breakfast.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very, if you encounter someone who's eating that, it's a very like, oh, right. It's one of those reactions. It's a very English response.
Do you eat baked beans very frequently?
Yes, very frequently. Very frequently. In fact, when I got drunk the other day, I came home and had an angry rant about how the rest of the world doesn't appreciate baked beans enough. I very rarely get patriotic because I kind of don't really believe in the concept of nation states, sure. but baked beans makes me patriotic. They're just fucking magnificent, Marco.
Well, that's a whole separate conversation. I mean, like, I like baked beans. The problem is my guts don't like baked beans.
That's because you're not having them enough. I'm being dead serious.
Does everyone in England fart excessively because they're constantly eating baked beans?
I believe that your body gets used to it if you are eating a lower fiber diet and then you suddenly bamboozle it with beans. It becomes overwhelmed. But if you are regularly eating cruciferous vegetables and legumes, then your body becomes accustomed.
What kind of bean is the British baked bean?
That's so
is it like a cannellini
question.
bean? Is it like it's not a garbanzo? Is it like a Great Northern?
I would say cannellini is a really good shout, because if it's not a cannellini, it's a twin.
Okay,
it's too small to be a borlotti bean, but
right.
It's like that. I fucking love cannellini beans. I eat those. I cook with those. Like,
just rice and cannellini beans with a little olive oil and parm.
Gorgeous. My stomach is audibly rumbling.
Some red pepper flakes in there. Done deal. A 3-bean casserole with olive oil and vinegar.
Why stop at 3? You know what I mean? I'm
actually
a big fan of beans.
3-bean casserole with tofu. Anyway, this is not what we're here for. So you, of course, are in Wuthering Waves.
I am.
Carlotta Montelli. No.
I'm
Cantarella.
Putting the plug. How very dare you?
The other C name. Oh, wait. Oh my God. I literally said Carlotta Montelli, but I meant Cantarella.
Cantarella Fisalia.
Fisalia. The complete opposite of that.
I do not play Carlotta. Thank you very much. That's Carlotta. She's
and
small and
course,
princessy.
I am Cantarella.
Famous for the tongue-licking trailer.
Yes.
That set the internet afoot. And, of course, you play that horse girl in Genshin Impact. What's her name? I honestly don't remember her name.
It's a deer centaur. Her name is Lauma. She is like she's sort of like a priestess, like an elfie priestess type for this old civilization who live in the woods. So
the woods.
Well, yes, it's rather treeless woods, but it's a wood nonetheless.
You are sublime in both of those.
Thank you.
I've heard. I haven't caught up with the Node Cry stuff, but I have. But it really fits beautifully, and I've heard some of your voice lines in that. And of course, I know Cantarella much more. And both are just. It's interesting because they're two sides of a similar coin in terms of like vocal production. Like they're both sort of gentle and.
Yeah, they wanted smooth. I didn't realize that was an unusual quality because I'm so unused to anything anime based, and so for me this is very normal. But because everything normally the tones are so bright and so energetic, and so compared to that, I have the deepest voice anyone's ever heard.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's a really beautiful. And so there's a track from another Hoyo game called Domineer, and it's from Honkai Impact 3rd, which is actually their first game they ever made, very, very, very a long time ago. And it still gets updates, but this particular track is just kind of fun. There's a whip crack. Wait, I gotta make sure it's the right one.
There's a whip crack.
Oh yeah. It's just a fun piece. And I thought it'd be interesting for you to hear something that is within the sort of verse that you know,
Yeah.
but a little bit different.
Oh my god, we got drum and bass. Ooh, I love that.
Incredibly short, but
That was very cool. I've never heard, I don't know obviously what it's called, but that stringed kind of, the East Asian banjo is what I would describe then as, that sound, whatever that is, that instrument. That's so cool to be put in then with like kind of an EDM beat drop afterwards.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I mean, I think this is I'm pretty sure this was for a character theme. So it showcases, Domineer. So it showcases dominance, strength, audacity, brazenness. There's a sort of like, obviously there's a severe, not in a negative, but there's a severe amount of femininity in it as well. Like it's very poised. And I think what's really exciting about it is that it feels like, like back the fuck up. You know what I mean? And I love how it's also done with the Eastern instruments. So it has this kind of, there's still class in the sound. It's so cool. It's so cool. Obviously, there are so many different tracks from both Wuwa and Genshin and all sorts of all the Hoyo games that I could play. But for whatever reason, Domineer, I was like, I gotta play Domineer for hours. I don't know why, but
it's amazing. All of the stuff I love the music from Genshin so much, but the contemporary sound is not something that I've really listened to from them. Like it's all of the like really soaring instrumental, a lot of the more peaceful stuff that I am more familiar with, because I just find it so incredibly gorgeous to listen to. I just spend ages hanging around Sumeru in Genshin, just being like listening to the incredible music. But there's a character who is like a contemporary of mine in Nodcry called Nefa, who is, her design is kind of Egyptian coded, and her trailer music it's so unlike the rest of the music from the region. It's much more kind of like EDM with bits of hip hop, and it was a banger. And this kind of, it's not similar to this at all, but in terms of it being kind of like you said, don't tread on me, that it has a similar kind of like
energy.
Yeah.
Poise. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, I think it's great that they don't stay limited. And Hoyo Mix really, I mean, is like, the musical arm of Hoyoverse and I think MiHoYo. And I think it's really cool that they are able to, I mean, the Honkai Star Rail stuff is really interesting too. Like they've really gone down a really like a mixture of classical and EDM that I think works really well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Nodecry specifically, the Colombina stuff is just, just an exceptionally beautiful motif and rhythm and beautiful melody in that. Really just so ethereal, but with like poise. And I'm really partial to the early stuff. So like Symphony of the Boreal Wind when you're fighting Andreas. Because that's like something that you could really pair with modern classical music. And it's just like, it doesn't feel like it's written for a game at all, which is sort of perplexing. Yeah,
I think because I started playing Genshin because I was cast in it, and it was my first experience of playing any of these types of games, and the music was absolutely the thing that made me stay, because at the beginning I just was kind of just a bit like, it all just took a lot of getting used to, but the music is so charming from the beginning. And then there's a song from like one of the main themes in Mondstadt, the first region, that they brought back in the latest patch and put lyrics to, because the knights from like that region come to fight to save the day in the new one. And it actually really moved me hearing them sing it in German, because it's something that you're used to kind of hearing just twinkle along in the background as you're being a noob running around trying to figure out, well, as I'm trying to figure out, what jump. And then suddenly you're in this new environment and it has lyrics and they're quite beautiful, and it's quite beautifully, it's like a bunch of guys around a campfire singing evocatively in German. It was kind of gorgeous.
I should look that up. That's
I don't know what it's called because it's such a basic central theme of Mondstadt, and they pronounce it Mondstadt, and that makes me happy.
Mondstadt? Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm always playing German because I look German, and so I hear Mondstadt, and I was like, sehr gut.
Wow, I'm surprised they did that. That's really cool, actually, because I've always appreciated that about Genshin, is how they, regional. I mean, Nordcry doesn't really have that per se, but...
Well, I mean, a lot of... I got to...
Norse, that's true.
I got to use a lot of Finnish, not a lot of Finnish. I got to use a little bit of Finnish, which was very fun because I'd never spoken any Finnish before. So there's a lot of naming that uses languages, but I think I got to say a lot of the Finnish stuff, which was delightful.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that it was based on... I mean, I know that the music was Northern European, but I didn't realize that it was based off of like...
Baltic and Nordic specifically. Yeah. I feel like there's quite a lot of Ukrainian allegory in my particular... Like the group that I am, you can draw a kind of like a sort of like geopolitical Ukrainian link kind of, but a lot of linguistically and musically, Baltic and Nordic were the main influences.
I was really impressed when I was in, it's a different area, but when I was in Poland, I remember there in Warsaw, there was this whole there's a statue of a man on standing next to a dragon, if I recall, in the main square. Mm-hmm. And there was this whole story about how, I forget the context or like the details of the story, but I was always like, wow, I can't believe that they have like a whole story for this national Polish hero and what this person represents, and their steadfastness and commitment to righteousness and whatever, and it's slaying the dragon. Or I find it interesting how the folklore and the mythology can kind of weave its way into the music depending on the area. So it's cool.
It's really nice when a culture has statues for its mythology and not just for its dead rich guys.
For its wars.
Yeah. It's we need more dragon statues.
We need more dragons and horses for sure. Yeah. Okay. Monster Hunter, Risk of Rain, or The Great Ace Attorney?
Risk of Rain sounds like my day-to-day life in London, so let's hear it.
Cool. All right. So this is so Risk of Rain is it's a game called a roguelike. And a roguelike is a game that basically whenever you die, you restart. As you go, you gain certain abilities that make the next run maybe a little bit easier.
Oh, you restart from the beginning, but you bring things from your previous attempt?
I believe, yes. I don't know if Risk of Rain does this, but I know Risk of Rain 2, but I know that there are other games that do this, where there's roguelikes and roguelites. So I think whichever one of them, I think it's the roguelike where you restart, period, and nothing is new, and you just keep going over and over and over, and you try to get further and further and further. So Risk of Rain 2 is unique, I think, because all these games have really excellent soundtracks, but Risk of Rain 2, it was composed by Chris Christodoulou, and this now is with, this particular piece is with Chris Christodoulou, who's the original composer, Orestes Zafieriou, and then I think the main composer of this is Stavros Markonis. There's very much Greek.
Yeah.
But the vibes are just immaculate. And, obviously, that my dad passed away 4 years ago. And my dad was very big into this style of, I wouldn't call it jazz. It's like rock, but this is like a fusion. Of all the stuff that I've listened to on the channel, I think the Risk of Rain 2 soundtrack would have made my dad the happiest. And
that's nice.
Yeah. And I'm happy because I've been able to tell Chris myself. So let's listen. This is a journey piece as well. So what's that like?
I really liked it. It lost me a bit with the wah-wah stuff at the end, and then I looked up and you were like vibing away, and I was like, okay, I'm glad Marco likes that bit. But I really liked the first half of it, and I was thinking, because I really enjoy sci-fi as a genre, but I was going to say like any, I haven't done games that involve story, but I've done. I imagine like I used to play The Sims, you know, I like building games, that kind of things. And I was thinking that although you described it as it's like a journey song, I was like, this is a really good melody for building something too, because there's just I like that kind of work music where there is momentum to it, but it's tinkery. There's kind of like,
it doesn't pull you,
yeah, there's latitude for you to notice things, and there's playfulness. And I was thinking, God, I can't identify any of these sounds. I don't know what instruments they are, but they're all very like interesting and pleasant. It's not repetitive, but I guess it is repetitive, but doesn't feel monotonous.
I think because there's enough variation in it where it's unique in that it is repetitive, and it does kind of go on and on and on and on and on, which I noticed this time. When I first heard it last week, I was like, what the fuck? This is the craziest thing. And then I was listening to it. I was like, I don't know if she's going to like this, because it just kind of repeats itself over and over. And I didn't realize that when I first heard it, because it's such a mood piece.
Yeah.
And it takes you on a journey, which is such a valid sound, but I'm not sure if it's the best to introduce someone to, you know what I mean? Like,
it was a very pleasant sound though. Like it was that the what, like I say, it kind of lost me with the what stuff at the end. Maybe because it was less melodic, I suppose. It's a bit more like, I don't have the word for it.
Definitely very free form.
Yeah, but up until that point, I was really enjoying like the layers of everything and the pacing of it.
Cool. So, I mean, I can't let you leave without listening to the most John Williams piece I know. And I know that I've kept you here for a very long time. But what is your sort of takeaway after this? Like, what is sort of, has anything shifted for you? Like in terms of, I don't know, you're so new to gaming and to this world now, and that's the opposite of me, because I've been gaming for basically 31 years at this point. So,
and that's amazing because you're only 24.
That's right. Yeah, I know. I don't know how I've been able to.
It's a remarkable feat.
What has listening to this music sort of done, if anything?
So often, as somebody who has been interested in games for a long time, I've always like dated gamers. So I've seen them over the shoulder. You know, when people try to get me into gaming, it's usually on very non-threatening games. And those are often the games where I want to turn the music off. You know, it's like as soon as you get into something and I'm like, oh, immediately I go to the menu to turn it off because I'm too stressed out by this under-imaginative, like repetitive, way too energized thing. I suppose my main takeaway is like, go play real games because they have beautiful music. You know, don't like, that's the thing that will, like, I'm surely equipped to handle them eventually. You can learn the skill set, but to get into something that has, you know, just thinking about the Mass Effect, for example, I'm like, I want to, that's such a cinematic piece of music. So I would like to experience that cinematic experience. And then, you know, the Portal, that song is so charming and so funny that it makes me want to play the game because I want the arc of it. I knew that there was spectacular video game music, partly because otherwise what would you be doing with your time? I know you're not a moron. So I knew it was out there. And I've listened to, often when looking for movie soundtrack playlists, I get a little bit bored of the same thing. So I would go on Spotify and put on some kind of, you know, greatest video game playlist. But it wasn't as, let's say, judiciously curated as what you've done. So a lot of it is just like raw, angry war stuff, which can get a little bit wearing.
You know, you mentioned that, not to cut you off, but it's like, but I will. It's hard because I think, and I get this a lot with this particular series, is that people want the bangers. They want the greatest hits. And I think greatest hits are important, but there are 40 years of musical history here that not only deserve to be showcased, but the greatest hits, while they are great, doesn't necessarily mean that those are going to be the things that convince people to play a game.
Yeah.
You know, and you need to show a wide berth. Now, obviously, I didn't show you anything from I don't even think 1997 was the earliest with Castlevania. But like, there's a whole musical history from before with 8-bit, 16-bit, so on and so forth, that then also now has had its own rebirth because of the technology to be able to reproduce that sound in a, a less restrictive way, which
Yeah.
so there's a whole scope of things. But for me, this was really like, okay, you are a new-ish gamer.
Yeah.
You're certainly a non-gamer. How do we then begin the journey for you to see like what's out there as an intellectual, as a learned person, you know what I mean? As an intellectual, as an educated person from Cambridge with an English degree, who's an actor and, a dancer to some degree. Like what is, that wasn't a rub, but like, it's like,
I'll take any degree of data.
what is out there, and what can you sort of like discover? Because it's not about being the best at a game. Because the other thing that's crazy is that in the last track I'm going to play for you here is from Monster Hunter Wilds, which just came out last year. And Monster Hunter is a difficult game. But once you get into the routine, you find a weapon you like, you learn how to play it. It's like riding a bike. I've got 200 hours across probably 250, I think. 250 between all these different Monster Hunter games. And now, when I pick up a switch axe, which is my main weapon in Monster Hunter, I know how to play it because I just learn, it's no different. So it's like, is maybe learning a language a better skill, or like learning a script for work a better skill? Probably. But there is something to be said for the joy of simply doing.
Yeah.
And discovery. I think in a modern time, we're forgetting a little bit this simple joy of play. Let us move over. This is the most John Williams of John Williams things I could possibly bring you.
Gorgeous.
Maybe a little bit less so than some of maybe the OG, but it's a beautiful rendition. Monster Hunter Wilds, this is Proof of a Hero. And sometimes this comes on as you're facing off against a dinosaur. These monsters are huge, colossal beings. They have their own themes. Monster Hunter is a dear series to me. And,
what is the genre of this game?
This is action. You're not really an ecologist, but usually the games seem like they're just about like killing monsters, but they're actually about ecology. And, how do you prevent a mass extinction? Well, you have to kill some animals that are invasive species or whatever. You know what I mean? There's a lot of challenge. There's a lot of risk and reward. There's like 14 different 14 weapons. I can't remember how many weapons there are, but there's a lot of self-expression through the weapons. And once you learn them, it's a gorgeous experience to learn this particular game. And we didn't even get to FromSoft music, which I know some people will be upset, but FromSoft, that's Dark Souls and Elden Ring, and you've heard of these games, I'm sure.
I have heard of them. I couldn't say more than that.
They're very challenging and extremely difficult, but can be immensely rewarding when the dots connect and you're able to uncover what's possible within yourself through practice and repetition. But let's listen to Proof of a Hero.
Oh, phew. I thought a monster was coming. It was so much foreboding.
It's very foreboding. This is about the beauty of nature. The original has a little bit more pomp, so it's a little bit more John Williams. But this is a slower, more introspective version. Oh, so you like that one?
I liked that a lot. That gave me the feeling, this is such a specific reference, but I recently went to a theme park in the Netherlands that was kind of like a very old school place called Efteling, and it had this wooden roller coaster that was dragon themed and amazing, one of those dueling roller coasters where everything's it was very high adrenaline, but it had this very classical kind of like brass call to arms, go and be an adventurer music, which when the first 5 minutes I thought it was just the most amazing thing, and I was beaming ear to ear, and then after standing in the queue for an inordinately long amount of time, I was ready to pull out a lighter. No, I wasn't. I'd just be like, enough. But that feeling that makes you want to just kind of like skip and jump and be like, there's something about that. I don't know how to describe any of it, but that beautiful swelling string sound and then a like brass kind of call to arms that's just gets you in your inner child and makes you want to go and do the adventure.
Well, and that really is the scope of Monster Hunter. I mean, Monster Hunter is all about like, let's go beat the shit out of a giant fucking monster that's going to beat the shit out of us if we don't beat the shit out of them first. It's super satisfying because there's a monster in a previous game called Monster Hunter Sunbreak, which is an expansion to Monster Hunter Rise. You fight a vampiric monster called Malzeno, which is inspired by Dracula. And he has just it's my favorite monster. It's this most sumptuous music. And it's cool because there's legitimate fear as you go out the door in these, high rank experiences where there's spectacle and you're also like having to figure out like, okay, well, what does this monster do? Holy shit. He swings his tail. She jumps on top and lands. So there's this real skill expression for you as a player to try to figure out like the best approach. And on top of that, you have these beautiful themes, and Proof of a Hero is such a galvanizing piece of music that makes you feel like anything is possible. Mm-hmm. Well, look, Alex, I mean, I think this was great, and it was so much fun to have this opportunity to sit down and got 3.5 hours almost for us. Hopefully you all have enjoyed this. If there's any games, and I think Alex will actually read the comments, if there's any game that you feel, Alex, having watched this episode, that you feel Alex would enjoy on Steam, definitely drop the name of the game in the comments below, because she'll actually read those and I think take them to heart. At the very least, wishlist them on Steam. You were really nervous to come in here and do this.
I was, because you so often have, that your guests are very knowledgeable about music, and I've got little to say except, it's gorgeous.
But we ended up saying lots of stuff for 3 hours, so clearly that wasn't the case.
Well, I appreciate you sharing something you are so passionate about. I mean, that's always interesting, and I love working in this medium so much. And I was sort of alluding to before, I've been interested in gaming from a distance, but there's always been partly because I didn't have a PC, I was on a Mac, and so nothing was available for me, but I have always just been a bit shy about actually getting stuck in. And then since the last couple of years working far more in video games, I don't know, maybe it feels like a Protestant justification. I'm like, no, it's work. I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to do it for myself. I'm not being idle. I'm doing work. So now I've given myself an excuse to actually get in and start playing things. So I'm excited to learn more about it. And actually, if people have suggestions, I love puzzles enormously. So if there are games out there that involve solving, I would be interested to know. I think a lot of this gorgeous music comes from a story-based adventure type thing, and it would be interesting to know if there are games in other genres that have equally incredible music.
Well, yes. Blueprints, Myst.
Oh yes.
Outer Wilds, I didn't even get to play for you. That's an entire puzzle game.
I have wish listed that one already.
Personally did not like that game, but the themes were really beautiful. I just don't like puzzles, but I'm the opposite of you. But there's like the Leonardo da Vinci room games. Those are first person puzzle-y, like, oh god, there's so many. The Witness, that's a beautiful one. Viewfinder is another one where, honestly, and I'm wearing a Legend of Zelda hat right now, but the Dungeons and Legends of Zelda, which obviously are not on PC, you'd have to get a Nintendo Switch or some other method. But the Legend of Zelda games are very puzzle focused and very enjoyable. I think you would be overloaded, but also extremely, because Breath of the Wild is one of the most recent Zelda games. It's open world and unlimited potential, and you don't have to follow any path. You like that or don't like that, but there's unlimited options.
I don't know if I like it or don't like it either. I think
I don't know. Yeah. Well, that's the beauty that you're in. This is a luxury, and I'm in some ways I'm jealous because there's so many games that you just don't even know that I play every game.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to discover. Thank you for the recommendations. I will write them all down when I watch this back.
My pleasure. Thank you everybody for watching this. We hope you had a good time, and we'll see you later.